चैट बॉक्स में आई गेस दे ऑलवेज आस्क ना,
हाँ
टोटल
हाँ,
हम यूज भी नहीं करते।
प्रॉब्लम। Good morning, students. This is your live virtual classes for intermediate paper 3, section A, income tax law. So this attempt is particularly from May 2026 onwards. I'm not saying about September 2026 and January 27 because there is a matter under consideration regarding the applicability of new income tax. So for May 26, it is very clear that the Income Tax Act 1961 as amended by the Finance Act 2025. Please note down the student, because for income tax paper it is very important which Finance Act is applicable, and specifically by passing the new Income Tax Act. It is also a matter of confusion in the students which Income Tax Act is applicable for our time. So, for May 2026, there is no doubt Income Tax Act 1961 as amended by Finance Act 25 is applicable. For September 26 and January 27, you don't stop your study. You just start your study preparing for your examination. The announcement, whatever the decision taken by the competent authority, that will be hosted on the institute website in a due course. So, students, I am just letting you know the institute website and basically the about the study material and the amendments overview. Because many students ask a doubt ki ma'am, we have the earlier old material, so do we need to purchase the new material for May 26, or we can study from the earlier material? How we come to know about the amendments? So for that, I'm just giving you whatever in the new study material we have given a overview of the amendment. So I'm just sharing my screen. Is it visible, students?
Yes, ma'am. It's clear.
Student, this is your institute website. Okay. In the new scheme of education and training, you will find everything at one place. Your study material, your section-wise weightage, RTP, suggested case scenario booklet, past question papers, saransh, everything will be there. Same will be there in the BUS knowledge portal also. So I'm just giving a brief about the institute website. So in the study material, intermediate section, paper 3, section A, two study materials are there. One is for till the exam January 2026, and the next which is applicable for this live virtual classes, that is May 26, September 26 and January 27. In the study material, the initial page, the important thing, what happened generally, student don't take so much time to read this initial page and all this, but this is very important, students, because you come to know about your applicability for the exam from this initial pages. So in these initial pages, as I told, this is applicable for May 2026. What is covered in the study material? Your amendment by the Finance Act 2025 and your notification and circular up to 15 July 2025. This study material has been released in January 25. So till 15 July 2025, notification and circular have been included. And whatever the notification and circular which is issued after 15 July, till 31st October, because cutoff date for May 26 is 31st October 2025, 6 months prior to your examination. That will come by way of statutory update for May 2026. For that, you have to wait, students. Okay, in this initial phase, this is the thing which I am talking about. After your syllabus, your study guidelines, which is very important for this paper, because many sections have been excluded in this paper for intermediate level. So these sections have been excluded. All the list is there. The certain clauses of section 10, which is included, there is a list of inclusion of clauses of section 10. And this is the highlights of significant changes in the study material. What it means, in the past, if you have the old edition of the study material, Then what are the changes that have been made in this edition of the study material? Because many times students don't want to purchase the new study material. Although for income tax paper or for any law-based paper, it is advised to purchase the new study material. Because you can read from the old edition, but what happened when you solve the question, the slab rate has been changed on many minor amendments. Maybe you forget to give when you are solving the question paper. But in this new study material, everything is updated. Your questions has been updated, your illustration, your answer, your charts, diagrams, everything is updated. So maybe while doing it from the amendment, Finance Act amendment, you might skip something or you drive the wrong answer. So that situation can come. But so this is the changes in which chapter we have made the amendments due to the Finance Act, and what are the brief of the amendments. This is just the brief, students, about the amendment introduced by the Finance Act 25, like your slab rate, 87 rebate, deductions, TDS, TCS rates have brought down, the threshold limit has been increased for certain sections. The section 206C1H, which was earlier there, now it has been abolished. Then non-filer for return of income for that higher rate of TDS and TCS was there, that has also been omitted. So your updated return, there's amendment in updated return. All this you come to know through these live virtual classes. All the faculty, sir and other faculty also will take each and every chapter in detail, all the amendments, every questions they will do the practice, they will make you understand everything. But it is just about the material ki what changes have been done from the last edition. So this is the notification and circular, which is after the release of the last study material, and that has been included in this study material. Is it clear, students? I hope. Student, do you have any doubt related to the applicability, related to the, starting for the provision? Because sir will start the technical part. Sir will definitely guide you and motivate you through the live virtual classes. But anything which you have doubt related to the initial, that cutoff date, the applicability, all these things, I am here. Otherwise, if you don't have everything is clear to you, we can move to the technical session. Very good, Shamli. Clear, students? Student currently who have joined through the mobile app, BOS mobile app, it is advised, because there is some problem in the query link. You just log in, just go to the join to the Zoom link, because in the Zoom link you can chat with the faculty and you can raise your doubts there. For regarding the query team, we are working query link. We are working on them, and it will be the problem will be resolved soon. For the time being, you can join through the Zoom link.
Ma'am, YouTube.
If you don't have a query, then you can join through the YouTube. But if you have a query, it's advised to join through Zoom link. Hina has a doubt. Ma'am, then the study material for 25-26 is not applicable. No, Hina, I doesn't mean that. This October 2025 edition, that is relevant for May 2026 exam onwards. But many times student has the earlier edition and they don't want to purchase the new material. So for that, there is this in the initial pages, there is a page of highlights. Ki what amendments have been taken place by the Finance Act 25 and what all notification and circular which has issued till the issue of the last study material to this study material. So you will get a brief of the amendments which is covered in the study material. But same, it is advised to purchase the new material. That is for the students who don't want, we can't afford, or we don't want, we will do our best, we will study from the earlier edition. That is, I'm just telling for them. Otherwise, please purchase the new material for the especially law-based papers.
Ma'am, issue resolved.
Very good. So, students, issue has been resolved. You can ask your query through the query link also. Okay, so just handing over the session to our faculty, C. Ankish Sharma, sir. So over to you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Good morning, students. Happy Diwali to all of you. I am C. Ankit Sharma, your income tax faculty for today's session. And of course, for next 14 session, we will be together in this journey. It gives me immense pleasure to be the part of, to interact with the future of our country. And that's all you. You all are going to be the future of our country. And in this journey, we are together. I want to thank BOS, ICAI Institute to give me this opportunity to be the part of this beautiful journey of your life. Students, before starting the technical part of this session, this topic, this subject, which is taxation, in which I am going to cover tax law, part A. Before that, let me tell you one thing, that we all faculties are just the face of these classes. But the real team, the coordinators, the technical teams, actually they are working so hard to provide you these kind of faculties, to be the part of this journey, to provide you these classes, which is really a very, very difficult work. So I want to thank on behalf of you also to the technical team, the coordinators, and everyone who is actually working so hard to provide these kind of classes to you. And that is also free, which is very, very rare in our country and anywhere. So before discussing the I have checked it. The query portal is now working. So student, you can also send your queries on this portal. So we were discussing about the paper, and before starting the tax provision, let me discuss about in very short regarding this paper. And before that, there I guess good morning wishes from Mr. Linger. Good morning. Happy Diwali to you. Okay, Mr. Navneet. Good morning, Navneet. Shamli, good morning. Happy Diwali. Anjana Kumari, good morning. Dhan Lakshmi, wow, good morning, Dhan Lakshmi. Neeraj, good morning. Kuldeep, good morning. Mustafa, good morning. Ishwarya, good morning. Good to see all of you after that Diwali day. You all are joining this live virtual classes. I know it's difficult. You must have enjoyed a lot yesterday. But of course, this is the part of your life and it's a very, very important journey of your life. So you have to be very sincere about studies. And it's really good to see that even after that Diwali, you are joined this lecture. And now Kuldeep is asking, sir, if today's session is applicable for January or May examination, this is applicable for May 2026 examination. We are going to discuss assessment year 26-27. I will discuss about the concept, the applicability of this assessment year later. Just be with me. I will explain you each and everything in detail. Riddhiben, good morning. Aditya, good morning. Everyone having a very, very good morning and happy Diwali once again to all of you. So let's talk about this paper of income tax. And most of you must be interacting with this paper first time in your life. You must have heard this income tax in day-to-day life every time. This is a very interesting subject, very interesting. But before starting anything, let's discuss what is the structure of this paper. So this paper number 3 is our taxation. This is paper 3, taxation. In this taxation paper, we have two sections. Section A is income tax law. Okay, so we are going to discuss this part. And section B is GST. Right? So this is 50 marks part, including both theoretical and numerical provision also. And let me tell you, this is income tax law. So the theoretical provisions is just not the theoretical provision. They also contain like a numerical concept. If you actually know the theoretical provision correctly, you will get the full mark. So this theory is not like the general theory. It is the technical theory part. So you can say the theory is also like the numerical concept. So if you have learned properly this theoretical part, and if you are going to write the correct provision in the examination, even for the theoretical part, you are going to get the full marks. Okay. So my notes is based on the study material, which is beautifully drafted by the ICAI, of course. And I believe the notes we have uploaded earlier, you must have downloaded that. Everything in my notes is based on the study material. And we are going to discuss assessment year 26-27 provision. What is this assessment year, etc.? We will discuss it later. So this is your paper overview that we are discussing paper number 3, taxation, section A, which will consist 50 marks paper, which will, the components are theoretical as well as numerical also. Now, after this taxation part, we are going to discuss chapter number 1. This is basic concepts. And you can see, as the name suggests, basic concepts, we are going to cover the basic part, the introduction part of the income tax. The basic concept chapter I have divided in 3 categories. You can say part A, part B, and part C. I have divided that in this category. In a study material, it's a single chapter, but on the basis of the concepts, what we are going to discuss in this chapter, that is actually I have divided in 3 parts. The part A, we can say, is about the introduction. That what is income tax, why is income tax, why it is applicable, how it's applicable, etc. So this is the introduction of income tax. Okay. And the other concepts like definitions, we are going to discuss multiple definitions, that what is the meaning of income, what is the meaning of person, what is the meaning of this assessment year, what is the meaning of previous year, what is undisclosed income, etc., etc. So if you are not going to understand the introduction part or definitions, how you will be able to understand the further part? Now, generally what happens? Basic concept part consists maximum theoretical concept in this part A. And when we go through a paper like income tax, which is more practical nature, students generally thinks that this is theoretical part, this is not important for examination that much in comparison to numerical part. But let me tell you, it's a mistake. No, do not underestimate the power of a common man. In the same way, do not underestimate the power of theoretical provision. Theoretical provisions are the foundation, is the basic structure of the whole chapter or the subject. So if you will not understand the theoretical provision nicely, you won't be able to get the numerical part also. So always give importance theoretical as well as the numerical part also. So this is theoretical part. We will go through with the introduction concept, the definition part, the various definition. We will read what is companies, domestic company, etc., etc. Then there are some other concept also in this chapter. In these other concept, we will go through why income tax applicable, why government charge income tax. Have you ever think about it? Why there is income tax? Why there is tax structure in our country? So that problem is going to be solved in this concept, in this part A. Why income tax? The applicability, how it has been applicable in our country, and the components also. What are the components? So we will discuss each and everything one by one. Also, in this case, this part A will give you an overview for the future chapter, which we are going to discuss in income tax later after the basic concept. So they will give you a very small overview regarding what is the meaning of salary, like heads of income. That is going to be discussed in detail in further chapter, but this first chapter, basic concept part A, will give you an overview that what are the heads of income, what are deduction, just a very slight overview. So this chapter also covers the overview and the definition of income, what is the meaning of income, and there are some exceptions, etc. So do not worry, I will discuss each and everything one by one. I'm just trying to give you a taste of this chapter, what we are going to discuss in this basic concept. So what will happen when we are going to discuss this overview concept, which is related to further chapters? not in this chapter. The details are actually consist in future or further chapter, but just a overview has been given in this chapter number 1, part A of chapter number 1. So you will understand, okay, this is just the overview, and I am going to read the detailed concept of this topic in future chapters also. The part B is very interesting. It is numerical part, and this is going to discuss about the rates of income tax. You might heard multiple times in your family or in your friend circle or in relative circle that people say, okay, I have to pay this much amount of tax on this income. The rates of income tax is very high. The rates of income tax is low, etc., etc. So what are those rates of income tax that we will discuss in part B? And there are two kinds of rates. One is general rate, we can say, and one are special rates. Again, do not worry. Do not worry at all. I will discuss what are general rates, what are special rates when we will discuss part B. And the part C is theoretical plus numerical both. And in this part, we will discuss the concept of agricultural income. Got it? So in this basic concept topic, we will discuss part A, which will consist introduction part of income tax, definitions, and some other components, why income tax is there, applicability, a general overview of future chapters, and there are something concept about income, etc. Part B will consist rate of taxes, there are general rates and special rates, and part C will consist about the provision regarding agricultural income. Till now, everything is clear? Technically, we did not discuss anything till now. So we just discuss about the paper and the chapter, what we are going to discuss from today. Now, after that, we will discuss the topic in this session. I am going to discuss the topic regarding whatever the technical provisions of the chapter. Then, of course, you can ask your queries on this chat box, or you can also ask your queries on the query portal, as you all know. We will discuss MCQs, of course, after a certain part of chapter. When we will cover, we will discuss MCQ. MCQ is going to be discussed at the end of the session, or maybe at the time of starting of the next session. Okay. Then there would be a very interesting part of my lectures, and I will discuss a very motivational story or some motivational thing with you every sessions. That would be after, I guess, the break, or that would be after the end of the session. That would be for 4 or 5 minutes. And I will already uploaded the charts, etc. On the basis of that, you can learn your provision very easily. So now let's get started with some basic rules or guidelines of the classes or the session. If you'll follow them, definitely you are going to get the best of these classes. So these are the basic things. Notes are based on study material issued by ICAI. Provisions, what we are discussing is for assessment year 26-27. What is assessment year? I will discuss that with you. Your all queries will be taken after 15-20 minutes. So I just do not want that the flow of our topic should be break again and again. But if there any important query, if I'll see that in chat box or query portal, I will answer that instantly. Otherwise, whatever there would be 5-4 queries, I will take all of them after 15 or 20 minutes of lecture. But some important query which is really related to the topic that should be answered instantly, that I'm going to answer instantly. Okay. Please focus during lecture and ask queries related to topic. That is very important point, and I request you all, please focus during the lecture. Focus is the very important thing of our life. Okay. And please ask your queries related to topic. There are some queries, those you are going to ask to the faculties, like how many hours we should study, how should we learn these top provisions, and there are maybe some queries which is not related to our topic at all. So what if I am not going to clear the CA? So these are the queries. Please try to avoid that. Stick to the queries. Whatever I am teaching, ask your queries related to them. That would be really important for your time and of course for our time. Please try to take live lectures for better understanding. Of course, these lectures are on YouTube also, and a lot of student thinks that I can watch that lecture on YouTube. Why do I need to get up 6 a.m. or 6:30 a.m. in the morning. I will watch them later. But there is very interesting, or you can say very important ingredient to take these lecture live, because you can interact with us. You can ask your query instantly and you will get the answer also. So this is a very interesting thing and very important. Try to take live lectures. You have to make sacrifices if you want to become a CA. So you need to get up early and you, if possible, try to take the live lectures. Kindly download notes before lecture for better understanding. We'll take MCQ at the end of the each lecture, or of course, before starting the next session. And all lectures would be in English, of course. You can ask your queries, etc. That's going to be answered in English. But I am just wanted to tell you that if any one of you want to ask any query in Hindi, you can ask your query in Hindi, and for that query, I'm going to answer that query in Hindi. Everything else would be in English. Okay. So now let's get started. Riddhi Ben is asking, sir, till which date of amendment are applicable for May 2026 examination? That's what I was saying. Ma'am, Dimple ma'am actually explained each and everything about this just few minutes ago. Maybe you have joined this later. You can scroll back the video. It's on YouTube. You will get the answer of your query over there. Because if the same query has been already resolved in this lecture, and if I am going to discuss that query again and again, that is going to actually utilize our time, which is very important. So please, Riddhi Ben, please go to this lecture starting part and you will get your answer. Any more query? Let me see. Geeta is saying good morning. Good morning, Geeta. So now discuss the provision with the help of notes. Technical. So patience and hard work is the only key to success. There is a quotation for all of you. And before that, there is always a thought for the day, which we will discuss before starting the class. This is the thought for the day. The best way to predict your future is to create it. Abraham Lincoln said that. So we all know who is Abraham Lincoln, a great personality, great leader. And what he said, you can predict your future. Like a future teller, you can predict your future, but the way is to just create it. You can create whatever you want to be. If you want to be a chartered accountant, you can be a chartered accountant, but that future you need to create it yourself. Nobody's come and going to do it for you. You have to do that thing for yourself. So you can predict your future right now, but that future is in your hand. You have to create it yourself. Okay. So now let's get started with the help of notes. Now we are discussing about the exact topic, Income Tax Act 1961, and that is applicable for assessment year 2026-27. So technically we can say that is for May 2026 examination we are discussing. That is not applicable for January 26. Now what is income tax technical? So Income Tax Act, what we are discussing is 1961. So that does not mean that income tax has came into force in 1961. This tax collection procedure is very old procedure. You must have heard in the ancient time when there kings and kingdom, there was a concept of collection of lagan. So what is exactly that lagan was? The lagan is a kind of a tax which the kings actually recover from the people of their kingdom. So that concept of lagan actually become a structural provision, and that lagan is now called as tax collection. So what is the evolution and origination? As we are going to discuss the income tax 1961, it does not mean that income tax came into force from 1961. No, the concept of tax collection is very old, very, very old, when their kings and queens were there. Initially, it was in the nature of lagan, which has been charged by the king of a particular kingdom from its people in kind. Earlier, it was in kind, like in a commodity. And when the currency introduced, that was in the nature of currency, in the form of money. Later on, it has converted into form of money, and that regime means the system is converted into systematic structure, and that is called tax nowadays. So whenever you read this Income Tax Act 1961, do not think that before this date there was no tax collection procedure. So it is a very, very old process. So it has been automatically evolved when there was kings and queens were there. So we are just discussing the Act 1961. Now, the chapter coverage, what we are going to discuss in this chapter, you can see we are going to discuss the component, that the introduction part, steps for computation of tax liability. We can see that's the overview part, important definition, rates of taxes, charges, and also agricultural income. So all these topics we are going to discuss one by one. Okay. Now, what is the meaning of tax? Let me tell you one thing before discussing this topic, that what is the meaning of tax? Let me tell you why there is tax. So, in a practical way, if I'm going to tell you what is exactly tax and why it has been collected by government. So, in a very layman language, if you live in a society, practically you are living in a colony, in any society. So, there are technically a society charges there. Okay, society charge, we all know that. So why is that society charge? And you will see there's a committee of society in which there is a president, there's a treasurer, there is a vice president, and other members also. There are certain number of people in that committee. They charge a certain amount from each house. It could be 1,000 rupees per month, 2,000, depending upon the society uh, structure or the society cost of standard living. So why they charge? They charge these amount of society charges for the maintenance of society, cleanliness, for the security guard, for the CCTV maintenance, for the power backup, for maybe internet facility, for a watchman, etc. To maintain that society and for the security purpose also. So we are actually paid the society charges for that security purpose and for the facilities, amenities, benefit, etc., whatever have been provided for health clubs, swimming pool, etc. Now think about on a larger scale, like instead of the largest scale. On a largest scale, if you think about, just think about our countries also is just a society. Just imagine our country is also a society. We are all living in this country. And the country is providing us. The government is providing. Government is that committee, what we have usually in our society. So the government is that committee. There is also president, prime minister, and ministers, and treasurer, and finance minister, and defense minister, etc. And the, of course, chief minister, etc. What they are that committee people. It's just trying to make you understand why there is tax. And because we are living in this country, so there need to be infrastructure, roads, highway, bridges, etc. There need to be safety. So there should be army and they need the equipments to secure us for the purpose of that security. How it will be done? The charges to pay those soldiers, the charges to make that infrastructure in our country need to be collected from the society people, the country people. So we are technically paying tax. Why? Because due to that tax, there would be infrastructure, hospital, schools, roads, whatever you are seeing that has been made with this tax collection, the security, etc. So why we are paying taxes? Because we are living in a society, in a kind of a country. And to maintain that society or a country, we need revenue. So the government, the committee collect the revenue from us to provide the amenities and security. So the tax collection is just on a broader scale, is just a cost of living in a society. What we generally pay in that colony in which we reside. So maybe you will get a insight that why there is taxes. So in any way, if somebody is going to ask you after today, why I need to pay tax, what is government is giving me? So just you can now explain what is the actual concept of paying tax. Let me see, there is some query or there is a good morning wish. Navneet, sir, I'm going for January 26 exam. I should watch this class or previous batch. January is for assessment year 25-26, Navneet. So you should watch the last batch classes. Okay. So let's begin by understanding the meaning of tax. Article 366(20) of the Constitution of India defines the term taxation, and you can see taxation includes the imposition of any tax or imposed, whether general or local or special, and shall be constituted accordingly. Taxes are considered to be the cost of living in a society. That's what we have explained. Taxes are levied by the government to meet the common welfare expenditure of the society. There are two types of taxes, direct and indirect taxes. Now, what is direct and indirect taxes? Let me explain you with the help of a small diagram. I always try to explain the things in small diagrams, so that is really easy to understand. So technically, there is direct taxes. Taxes are two types, direct taxes and indirect taxes. Now, what's the difference between direct taxes and indirect taxes? So direct taxes are imposed directly on the person. They are directly imposed upon a person who earn the income. Who earn income. For example, there is Mr. A. Fine. He is working in a company and getting a salary of 20 lakh rupees. He earned 20 lakh rupees salary. Now there would be income tax liability. Suppose the income tax liability is 2 lakh rupees. Now, who needs to pay this tax to the government? Whether Mr. A or anyone else. The tax on this income need to be paid and bear both by Mr. A. So the incidence of tax needs to be bear by the Mr. A as well as the tax need to be paid by Mr. A. So that is called direct tax. When you have to pay and you have to bear the tax, that is called direct taxes. So if Mr. is earning business income, if Mr. is earning salaried income, etc., he has the liability to pay and bear that taxes. Nobody else is going to bear these taxes other than Mr. A. So the both activities of paying means deposit or paying, and bear means, of course, the burden. The burden of paying that tax, the incidence of paying that tax, and the liability to deposit or pay tax both is upon Mr. A. So that is called direct taxes, when the burden and the payment liability both is dependent on Mr. A, the person who earned the income. Now, what is indirect tax? The indirect tax is different. Under indirect tax, the person who paid means paid or deposit, is different. Suppose paid or deposit liability upon Mr. A, and who needs to bear this tax? That would be a different person. So the liability to deposit and the liability to bear the burden of that tax on different person. That's why it's called indirect tax, because indirectly someone else need to take the burden of tax. Under direct tax, the person who earn the income, the person who deposit the tax have the burden of tax also. Under indirect tax, the person who deposit the tax and the person who take the burden of that tax are different. Let me tell you how. Like GST, is the example of indirect tax. Suppose Mr. A went to a shop and purchased a commodity, anything. Mr. A suppose purchased chocolate of 100 rupees. This is the MRP. In this 100 rupees of MRP, taxes are also included. So technically, when you or Mr. A pay for chocolate 100 rupees, suppose in place of Mr. A, you all are there. Students, you are there, okay? And you went to a shop and you purchased a chocolate of 100 rupees and you paid 100 rupees to the shopkeeper. Out of this 100 rupees, suppose 90 rupees is the price of the chocolate and 10 rupees are GST. So this 100 rupees has been collected by this shopkeeper. Understand? Now what he will do, out of this 100 rupees, 90 rupees he will keep with himself. And this 10 rupees GST, he is going to deposit, or we can say paid, by him to the government. So 10 rupees has been paid by the shopkeeper to the government. But can you tell me, who take the burden of this 10 rupees? Who has the burden of this 10 rupees? Who will tell me the answer? Who has the burden of this 10 rupees? Let me see who has answered. Adil is saying customer B. Well, customer, of course, the burden has been taken by us, of course, you, the consumer, the customer, of course. Shamli is also saying correct answer. Of course, Linger, very good. Kuldeep also saying that me, 100% correct. Well done. It's good to see that you all are listening very carefully and you are in this class. Let me tell you, this is not going to be a lecture. This is going to be an interactive class. Okay. So, Mr. P. Mujahid is saying customer. Absolutely correct. Well done. Harsh is saying, sorry, sir, to interrupt in between, but BOS sent me assessment year 25-26 book. What should I do now? You can send a mail, of course, and they will definitely going to respond against your mail, okay? Adit is saying customer, well done. Anjana is saying final customer, well done. Mohammed Muntaqween is saying customer, very nice. Prerna is saying consumer. Every single student has given the correct answer. Mr. Harivansh want to ask something. Just wait. I guess every one of you has given the correct answer. Lot of answers are there. So if any one of you have any query that why it's custom, etc., you can send me to, but every one of you have give the correct answer. Who wants to ask something? Mr. Harshvardhan, who was there? Who raised hand? Anyone was there? Harivansh Kumar. So can we unmute Harivansh Kumar? What Harivansh, what you want to ask? You can send your query in chat box, Harivansh, I guess. That would be really easy for all of us. Okay, so that is the difference between direct and indirect tax. So under indirect tax, always consumer is going to take the burden of that tax. And some other person, shopkeeper, anyone else, they are going to deposit that tax. So you can see this is the definition of types of taxes. Direct taxes, if the tax is levied directly on the income or wealth of a person, then it is a direct tax. The person who pays the tax to the government cannot recover it from somebody else. That is, the burden of a direct tax cannot be shifted. The burden and the payment liability would be upon the same person. Indirect tax. If tax is levied on the price of a goods or service, then it is an indirect tax. Goods and service tax, custom duty, these are the examples of indirect tax. In case of indirect tax, the person paying the taxes pass the incidence to another person. Incidence meaning the burden. And who is the another person in this? Consumer. Customer is the another person in this definition. And the paying the tax person must maybe a shopkeeper, etc. Any one of them. This is the diagram. You can go through it, of course. Why are taxes levied? That we have discussed the reason for levy of taxes, that government needs to provide us education, healthcare, infrastructure, etc. For that purpose, they need revenue. So they collect that taxes from us. Background, how it has been applicable legally. Income tax is the most significant direct tax. Entry number 82 of the Union List in the 7th schedule to Article 246 of the Constitution of India. So whatever taxes you have going through in your life, they all has been originated from the Constitution of India. So Constitution has the power. Constitution is the main body which actually give power to the government, etc., to make the law for different kind of taxes, etc. So the entry number 82 of the Union List 1 in the 7th schedule to Article 246 of the Constitution of India has given the power to the Parliament. We can say Parliament means central government to make the laws on taxes of income other than agricultural income. Please remember this. The power to levy tax on all incomes other than agricultural income is with the parliament, central government, except taxes on agricultural income. So who has the power to impose tax on agricultural income? Because central government does not have that power. So the power to impose tax on agricultural income is delegated to the state government. Understood? So the power to tax all income other than agricultural income is with the central government, and the power to impose tax on agricultural income is rest with the state governments. Understand? Okay. So income tax came in force from the first day of April 1962 and applicable to whole of India. So the Income Tax Act 1961, what we are discussing, the Act 1961, that has been came in force from first day of April 1962 and it applicable to whole of India, everywhere. Let me see if there's any query, then we can discuss it. Good. So till now, I guess everything is clear. And technically, we have discussed nothing. There are very simple things like what was income tax, direct tax, indirect tax, where is the applicability. So we have just discussed these topics till now. Power to levy tax, the Constitution of India. Harivansh Kumar, kindly ask your query in the chat box. Okay. The Constitution of India in Article 265 lays down that no tax shall be levied or collected except by authority of law. Accordingly, for levy of any tax, a law needs to be framed by the government. And Constitution of India gives the power to levy and collect taxes, whether direct or indirect, to the central or state government. The general things, we can go through it. The parliament and state legislature are empowered to make law on the matters enumerated in the 7th schedule by virtue of Article 246 of the Constitution of India. 7th schedule Article 246 contains 3 lists. This is important for examination, which enumerates which talks about the matters under which the parliament and state legislature have the authority to make laws for the purpose of levy of taxes. So for the purpose of levy of taxes, the power has been divided between the parliament, central and state government. So what powers the parliament or state government is having, we are going to discuss over here. So this is important. And let me tell you, when I say this is important, it does not mean that other things are not important. In my opinion, this is important, but each and everything is important. So the following list is their union list. There is a one list which is called union list. Union list enumerate those cases in which the central government has power. State government does not interfere in these cases. Parliament has the exclusive power to make laws on the matters contained in union list, like defense matters, armed forces, atomic energy, foreign affairs, etc. State list those matters which is under the control of state government. The legislature of any state has the exclusive power to make laws on the matters contained in the state list. Like you can see example like police, public health, local government, libraries, museum, etc. And you can see taxes on agricultural income. Concurrent list is like mixed. Those cases in which both state and central government has power to make rules. Both parliaments and state legislature have the power to make laws on the matters contained in the concurrent list, like criminal law, marriage, divorce, trust, etc. Overview of income tax law in India. And as I have discussed in the starting of this chapter, that in this chapter you will get an overview that what we are going to discuss in future chapters also. So that component, that part is going to be started from now. Now, overview of income tax law. So income tax law does not only contain income tax act. हरिवंश कुमार is saying sir I am unable to chat in the chat box. तो हरिवंश आपने क्वेरी पोर्टल पे मुझे प्लीज अपनी क्वेरी भेज दो आप, मैं आपको यहाँ से आंसर कर दूंगा. मे बी आपके पास कोई टेक्निकल इश्यू होगा. Please send your queries in query portal. I will answer that. Okay. So, so components of income tax law. So it consists of Income Tax Act 1961. It consists Annual Finance Act, what we call budget. Income tax rules to support this components of income tax law. There are circulars and notification also, which actually for the support of Income Tax Act 1961, and at the end legal decisions of court. So if there is anything which is not clear under the act as per the regulations, rules, circulars and notification, if there's something which is not still clear, if there's any dispute on anything, then the legal decision of court, we can go there and we can have the specific rules, specific judgment on those matter also. So these are the components of law. One by one, we are going to discuss it. The various instrument of law containing the law relating to income taxes. One is Income Tax Act 1961. We are discussing this. The levy of income tax in India is governed by the Income Tax Act 1961. In this book, we shall briefly refer to this act. It extends to whole of India. Applicable from 1st April 1962, it consists one section 1 to 298 and consisting schedule number 1 to schedule number 14. A section may have subsection or clauses or subclauses also. So what are the meaning of clauses? I guess subclauses, you must have gone through all these things in foundation, etc. So you can go through with this topic because student, this chapter number 1, we are having 3 sessions to complete it. And this is more than 100 pages chapter. So there are certain things what I believe you must have gone through in foundation and all those things which is very, very easy from your point of view of smartness. So I will give those things to you for a homework. All other technical thing I am going to discuss. So like this is your homework, you can say you have to go through with these provision, the meaning of clauses, subclauses, and let me tell you, if there is any issue in that part, you can ask me in the next session. I also made example for the clarity of clauses, subclauses. There are then proviso and explanation also. In a section, you may have clauses, subclauses, subsection, proviso and explanation. What are the difference between a proviso and explanation with example? I have explained it also over here. The second component is the Finance Act, the budget, what the finance minister actually present every year. That is called the budget. So every year, the finance minister of the government of India introduce the finance bill in the parliament, we call it a budget, that is budget session. When the finance bill is passed by both the house of the parliament and gets the assent of the president, it becomes the Finance Act. Amendments are made every year to the Income Tax Act 1961 and other laws by the Finance Act. So every year what is going to be changed or amended, that has been prescribed in the Finance Act. The first schedule to the Finance Act contains 4 parts which specify the rates of taxes. So what are these rates of taxes, etc., that has been discussed over here in a very short term, but the detail is going to be discussed in future chapters. So technically there are 4 parts. Part 1, the first schedule to the Finance Act specifies the rates of tax applicable for the current assessment year. Now what is assessment year? I have explained it to you. We will discuss this concept in the definition part. Accordingly, part 1 of the first schedule to the Finance Act 2025 specify the rates of taxes for assessment year 25-26. Part 2 specify the rates at which tax is deductible at source. This is called TDS. Now, what is TDS? Tax deducted at source. What is the concept? We have a separate chapter of more than 100 pages to discuss about the provision of TDS. So we will discuss the meaning of TDS, etc. later. I'm just explaining you what are the Finance Act part 1, 2, 3, and 4 consist. So the second part consists the rates of the TDS for the current financial year. Accordingly, part 2 of the first schedule to the Finance Act 25 specify the rates at which tax is deductible at source for financial year 25-26. Part 3, it also provides the TDS rates from income chargeable under the hat, salary, and computation of advance tax. So part 3 is having the TDS rate for salary, income, and the advance tax concept. What is advance tax? That is also going to be covered in the later chapter. And part 4 is the rules for computing net agricultural income. So this Finance Act is having 4 parts. Part 1 is consisting the rates for assessment year 25-26. Part 2 is consisting the rate of TDS for financial year 25-26 financial year. Part 3 is consisting the rate for TDS on salary and advance tax for financial year 25-26, and part 4 is having the net agricultural income computation rules. So that was first component was Income Tax Act, second component was Finance Act. Now the third component is Income Tax Rule 1962. So there are certain rules also. The administration of direct tax is looked after by the Central Board of Direct Taxes, that is CBDT. The administration part is dealt it by CBDT. The CBDT is empowered to make rules for carrying out the purpose of the Act. For the proper administration of the Income Tax Act 1961, the CBDT frame rules from time to time. These rules are collectively called Income Tax Rule 1962. So these rules are just like in a layman language, when you're small, a kid, your family makes some rules that you cannot go out alone, you cannot do this thing alone because you are a kid. When you attain the age of more than 13 or 14 years, the rules must have been changed. When you are plus 20, the rules must have going to be changed. So accordingly, as per the requirement of the act, as per the requirement of the situation, the rules could be framed by the CBDT for the administration of the Income Tax Act. Okay. Circulars are also clarification which needs to be provided to clarify any doubt for the benefit of Act. So circulars are like rules, circular, notification, they all are the support system of the Act. So if there needs to be some change, there needs to be some clarifications, there needs to be some doubt is there. For clearing that doubt, we need to provide the detailed concept or the clarification. So that needs to be issued by the circular. Circulars are issued by the CBDT from time to time to deal with certain specific problems and to clarify doubts regarding the scope and meaning of certain provision of the Act. So there might be a rule that you cannot go out after 10 p.m. at night. So that is a rule. Now, suppose there is a specific school party, there must maybe some specific purpose for you need to go out after 10 p.m. So your family can issue a circular. Okay, for today you can go out only for this specific purpose. So that's a kind of a circular to clarify or to solve any problem in a general way for any particular purpose. Circulars are issued for the guidance of the officers and or assessee. The department is bound by the circular, while such circulars are not binding on the assessee. They can take the advantage of beneficial circular. So circulars is binding on the department. Department officer needs to follow it, but assessee is not bind to follow it. If he thinks he needs to take the advantage, he can follow it. Otherwise, he can not going to follow that. Notifications, again, it's a kind of a support system. If something needs to be provided in a specific way, a process needs to be done in a specific way, that could be via notification. Notifications are issued by the central government to give effect to the provision of the act. The CBDT is also empowered to make and amend the rules for the purpose of the act by issue of notification, which are binding on both department and the assessee. So there's a difference between circular and notification. Circulars are binding on department but not on assessee. Assessee has a choice to take the benefit of circular or not. But the notifications are mandatory, binding on both the department and assessee. So it's your choice if you want to go out after 10 p.m. Because suppose for Diwali function, your family allowed you that, okay, for 3 next days, you can go out after 10 p.m. with your friends also. So that's a specific rules which has been changed with the help of a circular. Now it's your choice. If you want to go, you can go. If you don't want to go, you cannot. So that is not binding upon you that you have to go. But the provision has been relaxed with the help of a circular. Now the family says, yes, you can go out after 10 p.m. but you have to share the location to us when you leave. Your live location should be sent. Or this form needs to be filled up. Or this information you needs to provide to us before you are going out. So that's a kind of a notification. Now, if you want to go out, you're allowed to go out, but you have to fulfill that notification. So that is now binding upon you also. I hope it's clear. Now, on the end, the legal decision of courts, the components of income tax, the last is income tax law is legal decision of court. So if there is any confusion regarding the notification, regarding the circular, regarding the rules, even regarding the act, so you can go to the court and court can decide what need to be done. So case laws refer to the decision given by the courts. The study of case law is an important and unavoidable part of the study of income tax law. It is not possible for Parliament to conceive and provide for all possible issues that may arise in the implementation of any act. Hence, the judiciary will hear the disputes between the assessee and the department and give decision on various issues. So you have shared the location and you went out after 10 p.m. So you have fulfilled the notification. But after you went out, suppose your mobile recharge has ended up. You didn't knew about that. So location now cannot be shared. So technically, you breach the rule. You breach the notification purpose. But now you can say, my data has been ended, so it's not my fault. So now what we will do, whether you have violated the provision or not. So now we need to go to the court and court will decide, okay, in this specific situation, what needs to be done. So when there is any confusion, when there is no clarity, even with the help of clarification, notification, circulars, rules, still there is some not clarity completely is there. So you can go to the court and court will decide the final thing. The Supreme Court is the apex court of the country and the law, whatever the court will decide would be the final thing. The case laws, the good news is the case laws are dealt with at the final level. So case laws are not at the intermediate level. We are not going to discuss the case laws at this level. Okay, so Kuldeep Nagar saying very much clear on circular and notification. Well done. High five from Wi-Fi. Great. Chalo, next. Charge of income tax. Now we are talking about with the section, etc. So that was a introduction part, basic things to make you understand from where this income tax has been came into force, why income tax technically came into the force, what are the components of income tax, etc. Now we are discussing as per the section. So charge of income taxes, this is called the charging section of income tax. So charging section technically explain, charging section of anything explain the characteristics of that particular thing. So because we are discussing the charging section of income tax, so technically now we are going to discuss the characteristics of Income Tax Act. And now you can see what are the characteristics of income tax. Section 4 of the Income Tax 1961 is the charging section, and it says tax shall be charged at the rates prescribed for the year by the Annual Finance Act or the Income Tax Act 1961. So rates would be provided by the budget or the act or both. The income tax is charged on every person. Now this is very, very interesting. There is a definition of person under section 231. So income tax can be charged upon you if you fall in the definition of person. If you does not fall in the definition of person, you need not to pay any income tax in our country. So this is really a very good news. Now you must start thinking, what is the meaning of person? Because if anyhow you are able to get out from the definition of person, then you are need not to pay any tax on your income ever. So I believe most of you must start thinking, what is the meaning of person? So we have the definition of person we will discuss in detail. So do not think about it. As I told you, whatever we are discussing now, what is the way of understanding any concept? Whatever we are discussing right now, that should be clear in your mind. If any one of you start thinking now, what is the meaning of person? Sir is not telling right now, what should be the person? That is not the correct way of understanding things. That's not called the focused person. So now you should be focused upon point number 2. And what point number 2 is explaining? This is saying the income tax is charged on every person, which has been defined in section 231. And I am saying I will teach that 231 section later in this chapter. So you just, if you understand point number 2 right now like this, that it is applicable on person, it is okay. Do not get confused. Do not bother about what is the meaning of person, kya hota hoga, how I will escape from it. Just don't do this. So that is called not focused person. Okay, so stay with me. Whatever I am teaching, just think if that point is clear, you are okay with it. Everything is need to be or going to be explained in detail later on. Just relax. Okay. So rates prescribed by the Finance Act, it is applicable on person. Who is person? That we will discuss. Now tax is chargeable on the total income earned during previous year and not on the assessment year. Now there's a definition also, previous year, assessment year. I will discuss it. So the whatever income you have earned in previous year, taxes need to be imposed on that, not on the year assessment year income. The previous year income earned need to be taxed. But there are some exceptions also under section 172, 174, 174A that is also going to be taken up in this chapter later. Tax shall be levied in accordance with and subject to the various provision contained in the act. So you can see these 2 points is very, very interesting and important. That it is charged on person and the income earned in the previous year needs to pay tax, not on the income earned in the assessment year. What is previous year? What is assessment year? What is person? We will discuss, and the exceptions also. This section is the backbone of the law of income tax insofar as it serves as the most operative provision of the act. The tax liability of person springs from this section. A person includes individual, HUF, etc. We will discuss in detail the definition of person. Do not worry. Now the overview of future chapter is going to discuss. And this is the most normal part of this chapter because these points what we are going to discuss in step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, they all are covered in the further chapters. They are not the part of basic concept chapter. Like step number 1. Now we are discussing how to calculate total income and tax. We are just started the income tax act. How we are able to calculate the income tax act. This is technically the last chapter. Let me tell you, the calculation of total income and tax payable. This is your last chapter. I guess chapter number 9 of module 2 something. So this is the last chapter of our income tax, and this is just, they are just trying to tell you the study material, the institute just want to tell you what is going to be come in future. Like when you start doing CA, it does not mean you are starting from final, but you must know that this is my first stage is foundation. Then I would have my group 1, group 2 intermediate level, then my training process, then there are final, there are 2 groups, etc. Those training, etc. So this is not this, that when you start foundation, you are going to study the final provision, but you should know, okay, this is the end of my destination. This is my journey. So this part is just going to tell you what is the journey of income tax law section 3 जो हमारा part है 3. So this is just enumerate, explain, provides you a vision that what kind of chapter we have to study in this subject. So the first step is determination of residential status. First of all, if you want to calculate the tax liability of any person, or if you want to calculate the income of any person, first of all, you have to find it out whether what is his residential status, whether he is resident in India or non-resident, etc. So this is a chapter 2 concept. I'm not going to discuss anything for this chapter in our basic concept that will confuse you, because there is a lot of provision, etc. What we will discuss when we will going through with chapter number 2, residential status. So for calculating tax, first step is just saying you have to find out the residential status. How it's going to be find out, that's a separate chapter concept. We will discuss it later. Then you have to classify different kinds of income. Under income tax, we divide our income under 5 heads of income. First one is salary. Either whatever you are earning, it is a salary income. Income from house property. If you are not doing job anywhere, if you're doing job and getting the payment, if you're an employee, that income would be your salary income. Income from house property says if you are earning rental income from any building, that would be classified as your income from house property. Then if you are doing any business or carrying any profession, then in that situation, the income you earn from that business or profession would be your PGBP income. Profit and gains of business and profession. In short form, we called it PGBP. Profit and gain of business and profession. If you have any asset like land, building, jewelry, etc., and if you sold this and earn profit, that is called capital gain income. And income from other sources, any other income. So if there is any income which does not fall under salary head, rent of a building, business or profession income, or asset sold profit income, any other income, if there is any other income, that would be called income from other source. Can you give me any example of income from other source? It's not that difficult, it's easy. Any income which does not fall in salary, house property, business, capital gain will be treated as income from other source. Let me see who answered it. Radhe Sham Tiwari ji. Okay, he's saying lottery income. Yes, winning from lottery is other income because that does not fall in other 4 category. Shireen is saying income from lottery. Okay, same answer. Pooja is lottery. Everybody is saying the same answer, only lottery. What is happening? Okay, Mohammed Muntakwin is saying gambling and lottery. Yes, gambling is a part of that income. Online gaming, very correct, Anjana. Okay, then income from car race, Dhan Lakshmi. Income from car race, winning from car race, you might trying to say. Horse race winning is saying by Aditya, correct. Shamli Sharma is saying winning from horse race. Okay. Yes, you all were giving the answer of like winning from horse race, lottery, etc. But there's very easy answer also. And Mr. Linger has said interest on deposit, bank interest, saving account interest. Scholarship is saying by Neeraj Kumar. That could be a correct answer, but scholarship is not income actually. We will discuss it in exempt income. Scholarship is technically not income because that is for education purpose reimbursement. Okay, so the examples are like dividend income, interest on FDR, winning from lottery, gambling income, etc. And most of you have gave the correct answer. Gambling काफी पसंद है बच्चों को यहाँ पर. Dividend on shares. Gifts, yes, gifts is also correct answer. Who has said gift? That was the correct answer. Gifts are also income from other source. Shalini is saying income from loans and advances. That should be interest from loans and advances. Shalini, interest income. Prajapati is saying dividend income. Correct. Hina is saying interest income. Very well done. Lot of correct answer is there. Aditya is saying dividend comes in capital gain. No, Aditya, dividend would be the part of income from other source because that is a regular income on shares. If you transfer your share and get the profit, profit is the part of capital gain. Dividend would not be the part of capital gain. That would be your income from other source. So we have specific heads. These heads are technically separate chapters. What you are just seeing in the overview. Let me tell you, salary is more than 150 pages chapter in your study material. And PGP is also same. So we will discuss each and everything one by one later. I'm just giving you an idea and I have explained you all these heads with example in a very short manner. So that is your also homework. Please go through it. The meaning of salary with example, the meaning of house property with example and photograph, PGBP income with example and photograph, capital gain income with example and photograph, and of course the income from other sources also. So you can go through with this, okay? After calculation of different heads of income, now we have to compute income under each head. What is the income of salary? With there are certain exemptions, there are certain things which we need to calculate to find out the income under the head salary, house property, PGBP. So it's not that easy that I'm working somewhere, I'm getting this much amount from my employer, that my salary income. No, there are multiple provisions. Some amount of salary income is exempted, some is going to be taxable, etc., etc. So the detailed calculation is going to be discussed in various chapters. Same, there are certain deductions connected with those heads of income. Deductions for salary income, deductions from house property, deductions from business. That is going to be discussed in those chapters. You can see in each step it has been written. We will discuss it later in this chapter. In every point it has been written. So these are just the overview to tell you that we have to calculate the residential status, then the heads of income, then the calculation of income. Then we are having some clubbing provision also. Now, what is the clubbing, etc.? We are having the chapter regarding it. Then there is set off and carry forward of loss. We are having the chapter also that if you have some loss, you can set it off. How, when, where? Chapter, next chapter. Then computation of gross total income. So step 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. After step number 1 to 6, now you need to calculate the gross total income. And that we are going to discuss later, of course. After this gross total income, there are certain deductions from gross total income. What are those deductions? How we need to reduce it? That is going to be discussed in deduction chapter. Then these are the deductions, what we are going to discuss in the deduction chapter, multiple deduction, chapter 6A deduction, section 10 double deduction, deductions on the basis of payment, deduction on the basis of income. So do not worry about all these things. Just see this, whatever is happening over here. After providing the deduction, that would be my total income from gross total income. Step number 7. If we reduce point number 8, that is deduction, what we will have? Point number 9, that is called total income. This is called total income, or this is called taxable income, or this can be called income on which tax need to be charged. So tax need to be charged on total income. It should be rounded off 10 rupees of multiple. You can just go through, read all these provisions. So now you can see how to calculate total income. That's all the steps what we have discussed has been explained in the diagram. Residential status, step number 1. Different sets of income, step number 2. The deductions, etc., step number 3 and 4. Then clubbing provision, step number 5. Then 6. Then 7 is computation of gross total income. Then deduction is 8 and 9 is my total income. So all of these steps are technically specific chapters. After calculation of total income, which has been explained over here also in a format, you can go through with this format also. Exactly the chart is over here. And now the chart has been explained in the manner, in the format manner also. Now on this total income, what we have calculated in point number 9, now we need to apply the tax rate on it. Under income tax now, there are two regimes. You must have heard about it. There are two systems of taxability. Section 115 BAC, that is default tax regime. And one is opting out of default tax regime, that is optional tax regime. So there are two structure rate. In the starting of this lecture, I have told you that there are general rates and there are special rate. So these general rate is having technically two regime. One is default tax regime and the other is optional tax regime. What is this specific rate of taxes income? That is going to be discussed later. So in this chapter, in this basic concept chapter, we will discuss the general rate applicability to calculate tax. Special rate income, why we are not discussing those concepts in this chapter? Because these special rate of income is taxable on capital gain income, dividend income, interest income, lottery income, etc. So there are multiple different kinds of situation in which those special rate of income needs to be applicable. So that you would be able to understand when you will cover the capital gain chapter, income from other source chapter. Then you will be able to understand the special rate applicability. So in this chapter 1, in which the part B is for rates of taxes. In that part, we will discuss general rates. Okay. So you can see the section 115 BAC rate structure that is going to be discussed in detail in this chapter. There is tax rates and then there are rebates. Section 87A rebate. We will discuss in this chapter part B. This is part B of this chapter. Health and education cess, part B. AMT is a different kind of topic that is going to be discussed in chapter number 9. Calculation of income tax liability. What is AMT? Alternate minimum tax. We will discuss that topic later. Okay, there are maybe some queries. Let me see. Bank interest. That is the answer of horse race. Winning from horse race. Investment in shares. Riddhivan, correct. Crossword puzzle. Rixita Sojitra. Okay, customer. Kuldeep. Okay, no query. Just the answers what I have asked earlier. Santosh also gave the correct answer. Okay. Navneet is asking, sir, I watched previous batch classes for January 26. Can I watch these live classes for better understanding and appear in January 26 if there is not major changes to confuse? I watched recorded classes, but I want to attend live classes for clear my doubt. Default tax regime. Navneet, there is a problem actually under default tax regime. Let me tell you, in chapter 1, there is no major differences. You can take these live classes, but under default tax regime, the tax slab rates has been completely changed. So if you can manage that whatever tax rates I'm going to teach in this batch, that would be different from the last batch. So that could make a confusion in your mind, but if you can manage it, you can take these classes for better understanding. Mr. Shireen Ahmed is asking, Does income of a private tutor come under PGBP or income from other sources? If you're a private tutor, that would be your business income. Whatever regularly you are doing, that is your business income. That would not be your income from other source. But Mr. Shreen, the frequency of transaction, etc., applicable in these cases. So when we will discuss PGBP, you will understand this kind of income inclusion. But yes, the private tutor income would form part of your PGBP for now. Step number 14, you have to decide whether you need to follow the default tax regime or optional tax regime. Also, this is the part of chapter number 9. Advanced tax, we are having the specific chapter for it. Tax payable, refundable, the concept needs to be discussed later. Return of income, we have a chapter. Then when you need to file your ITR, that is going to be discussed in return of income, maybe chapter number 8, I guess this is. So the part we have discussed, that was technically what we are going to see in future. Now the part which is related to our this chapter is important definitions. Now we will discuss the definition in which we will discuss assessment year, previous year, person definition, etc. So the concept we have discussed earlier in this chapter, which is connected to our this topic, we will take these definition right now. So let me see if there's any query. Then we will take a break, and after the break, we will discuss these definition. Yes, Navneet, you can do that. You can manage it. You can, of course, take the live classes. Aditya is saying agricultural income is also there. What is the meaning of this question, Aditya? Agricultural income provision we will discuss in this chapter, of course. I guess there is no more query. So, Nisarg, can we take a short break of 10 minutes? Welcome back, everyone. I believe you must have your tea, coffee, etc., and you must have get your energy back, as do I. So we were discussing the provisions of income tax. Chapter 1 we were discussing, and we just go through with the basic concept, introduction part of income tax. So moving ahead, the definition part. Now we will understand the income tax more clearly, because till now we were just discussing or taking overview of the income tax concept. Now the assessee, the definitions, the concept would be more connected to the subject. Now what is the meaning of assessee? It's a very important definition. Assessee. So assessee means a person by whom any tax or any other sum of money is payable under this act. So under income tax, you will be called an assessee. Who will be an assessee? The person who's going to pay tax. So if you are having income, and on that income, if tax is there, tax liability is there, you would be called assessee. For example, up to 2 lakh rupees. If you are earning 2 lakh rupees income, normal income of salary business, there is no tax. So you would not be called an assessee. Just apply this example upon yourself. You all students, I believe majority of you does not have any income, not even up to 2 lakh rupees. You are not earning anything. I believe that. Even if you are earning up to 2 lakh rupees, suppose, there is no tax liability upon you. So you are technically does not fall in the definition of assessee yet. I am earning income that much on which I need to pay tax. So I am an assessee because I do fall in the first part of this definition. Assessee means a person by whom any tax is payable. And now what is the meaning of any other sum? It says if interest or any kind of penalty, fees, etc., also liable on any person to pay to the income tax department, that person will also cover in the definition of assessee. Why assessee definition is so important? Because if you do fall in the definition of assessee, then you have to do compliance of income tax provision. So that is very, very important. So when you will be called assessee, if you are need to pay tax or other than tax, any kind of other sum, whether it could be an interest, penalty, fees, etc., to this act, you will be called an assessee. Now apply this concept upon yourself. As a student, do you need to pay any tax to income tax? I guess majority of you do not need to pay any tax. And are you liable to pay any kind of interest, penalty, and fees to the income tax department also? I believe no. So technically, you all are outside the first part of this definition right now. So you all are not assessee. I am assessee because I need to pay tax. So I have to do the compliances of income tax provision. The definition is not yet ended. So you just escaped from the first part, but the second part is still over here. Every person in respect of whom any proceeding under this act has been taken for the assessment of his income. Assessment means verification. Now suppose there is Mr. A whose income is only 1 lakh rupees. So he needs not to pay any tax, no penalty upon him till now, suppose, no interest, no fees, etc. So he is outside this first category of sentence. But suppose income tax is having a doubt. Income tax thinks that Mr. A is escaping his income. He is not revealing his correct income. He says his income is 1 lakh rupees and income tax say no, he's lying. His income is more than that. Maybe 10 lakh, maybe 15 lakh, maybe 20 lakh, maybe 25 lakh, whatever it is. So income tax opened his case. That is called assessment proceeding. So if you do not have any tax liability or you do not have some liability to pay to income tax department, but if any cases has been opened against you, even after opening of case, your final income has been assessed to 1 lakh. Suppose you, after checking also, the income is 1 lakh. It does not matter. But the case has been opened. Why? To check your income or to check your loss or to check your refund. In any way, if your case has been opened by the department, you will again need to be called an assessee. Like all you students, you do not have any income. You does not fall in the first category. But suppose income tax department opened your case to check that whether you are having any income that is real or you are lying. In that case, you will be considered as an assessee in section 27. So if any proceeding has been initiated for the assessment means verification, checking for your income, it's just a checking procedure, not the confirmation. But if the proceeding has been taken against you to check your income, to check your loss, or to check your refund, if you have claimed any refund from government, and if for that purpose your proceeding has been taken up, you will be called an assessor. Now, what is this point? Why I have ignored it? Because this point says if the checking has been initiated, the income of any other person in respect of which he is assessable. In some cases, the assessee is outside India. Suppose he is a non-resident. Someone reside outside India, but also doing business in India, earning some income from India. That is, could be a case. Somebody is living in, suppose, Australia, but running a business in India also. So he is having earning income from India. So in that case, he appointed a agent upon his behalf to pay tax in India because he cannot come to India and pay taxes. So he's appointed a agent on his behalf to pay taxes and etc. So if that person case has been opened, then again you will be called an assessee. So the income of any other person means in respect of which he is assessable. He is representative assessee. We called the agent is representative assessee. And the real person whose income is that would be called any other person. So if you are a representative assessee, that is person liable for taxes is a non-resident, minor or lunatic. Such people will not be able to file taxes by themselves. The people representing them can be either as an agent or guardian. So if you are an agent of any other person and to check the income of that other person, to check the refund of that person, to check the loss of that person, if the case has been opened, you will be called an assessor. Clear? Every person who is a deemed to be an assessee, like legal here, executor, under any provision of the act. So if there is any legal heir for any one income, you will be called a deemed assessee. If you are an executor, liquidator, etc., you will be called a deemed assessee. Clear? Every person who is deemed to be an assessee in default, if you have defaulted in any provision of income tax rules, if you have defaulted or violate any provision of income tax, now you will be called a assessee in default. Under any provision of this act, you will be called an assessee in default. Every assessee is a person, but every person need not to be an assessee. The meaning of this line you will understand in detail when we will understand the definition of person under section 231. So, who is the assessee? If you need to pay any taxes or any other sum to the government, you are an assessee. If your case has been opened to check the income, to check the loss, to check the refund amount, you are an assessee. whether you are a representative assessee on behalf of anyone. The third point, if you are a deemed to be an assessee, if you are a legal heir, you are an executor, etc., again you will be called an deemed assessee. If you did not comply with any provision of the act, you will be called an assessee and your name would be assessee in default. This is a general point. Every assessee is a person, but every person need not to be an assessee. So the person definition is wider than assessee. So if you are a person, that is not mandatory that you need to be an assessee, but if you are an assessee, then automatically you need to be a person. So the person definition is wider than the definition of assessee. Why person definition is wider than assessee? That you will understand when we will discuss the definition of person. Now, assessment, as we have discussed in the above definition, assessment means verification of income. There are multiple kind of assessment, and the good news is the assessment would be dealt in final level. This is a procedure by which the income of an assessee is determined. It may be by way of a normal assessment or by way of reassessment of an income previously assessed. So we are having multiple kind of assessment under section 143.3, under section 144, 147. But do not worry about it. These all are going to be discussed at final level, not at your level. Now the much awaited definition of person has been here. Person under section 231. Very, very, very important definition. And again, I am telling you once again, if I'm saying very, very important definition or very, very important concept does not mean other are not important. Everything is important, right? So the person definition, the definition of assessee leads us to the definition of person, as the former is closely connected with the latter. And let me tell you, when we will complete the definition of person, you will be able to understand the assessee definition more clearly because they are both interconnected. The person is important from another point of view also, the charge of income tax on every person. Remember, section 4 was saying, charging section was saying that income tax is charged on every person. And what is the meaning of person that we are going to discuss over here? Before the discussion, let me clear you one thing about this definition. The definition of person under section 231. It says person includes 8 categories: individual, HUF, Hindu undivided family, AOP, association of person, body of individual, partnership, firm and LLP, company, local authority, and artificial judicial person. So these are 8 categories of person that we are going to discuss in the definition of 231. So if you do not fall in any of these 8 categories, if you do not fall, that means you are not a person. And what a good news it is. If you are not a person, you need not to pay any income tax. Clear? Now, very important thing and interesting also, there is a specific definition of individual. We will discuss the definition of individual. You can avoid this definition. Individual means human being, generally, in short. If you are a human being, you will be called an individual. So we all fall in this definition. HUF is Hindu undivided family. We are having the concept and provision. You can be a HUF or not. What is the meaning of association of person? We are having this definition. Body of individual, we have this definition. Firm and LLP, we have this definition. Company definition, we have. Local authority definition, we have. So you can avoid these 7 categories. You can avoid these 7 categories. But the eighth category definition is like this. The artificial judicial person definition is this. It says those not covered, in above 7 categories, 1 to 7, will be artificial judicial person. So definition of AGP is this. So they are having separate definition. What is the meaning of a company, LLP, firm? We are having 7 definition, and you can avoid these categories. But if you avoid these categories, you will be automatically the part of AJP. So AJP does not have any individual definition, its own definition. No, it says those will not fall in the above 7 categories will be treated as artificial judicial person. So now I am having one very simple question. Can anyone fall outside the definition of person? Anyone? Can anyone be a not a person? Is it possible to avoid this definition or not? Sharin is saying no. Tiwari Radheshyam is saying no. Kuldeep is saying no. Kuldeep is saying no. I can fall on AJP. No, Mr. Kuldeep, you will not be the part of AJP. Individual. You are human being. So you would be the part of, you all students are the part of individual. You are not AJP. You all are human beings. So for that purpose, you would be called an individual. Government, there's nothing like government. There is government departments. There is MP, MLA. There is nothing we called a government. Government is an organization collaboration. We called it a government. So all government department either will fall in the 7 point or that is going to be fall in the point number 8. Nobody can escape this definition. So when we were discussing the definition of assessee, I have told you that you all are outside the definition of assessee because you do need not to pay tax, any sum payable, no case against you. You are not a legal representative of any non-resident, etc. You are not a deemed assessee of anyone. You are not assessee in default. So you all are not assessee, but you all are person because you does fall in the definition of individual. That's why person definition is wider than assessee. I've told you why, because whether you are paying tax or not, it is irrelevant. For the person definition, you would be a person if you fulfill any of these category, even if you have income or no. That does not matter for the definition of person. So nobody can escape this definition. Yes, Neeraj is asking, sir, will God will fall in AJP? Yes, you can see this definition is so strong that it includes God, ICAI, schools, colleges, universities. If they do not fall in these 7 categories, if they are not a company, not a local authority, not a partnership firm, etc., all those will fall under this category. So you might heard till now that God is above all, but there is a department, income tax department. It also cover God also. So you have to pay tax on God income also, and God has been included in the definition of artificial judicial person. Interesting. So even God cannot escape from this definition. How the income of God is coming? Actually, the temple, the mosque, the church, the gurdwara you are going, and whatever you are offering as a money, that is technically not the income of that priest who is here, not that pujari. Actually, you are giving that income to the God. That is technically the God's income via pujari or priest. They need to pay tax. God needs to pay tax, and that could be fall in the definition of AJP. If that temple, mosque, church, and gurdwara does not registered as a company, AOP, HUF, not registered, then that would be called a AJP or registered under any other specific act like ICAI, etc., then they will fall under artificial judicial person. So even in our country, gods need to pay tax. Very interesting. So suppose When gods need to pay tax, how can you escape that? Not possible. So this definition we are going to discuss one by one in detail. You will understand each and everything. So nobody technically can escape from this. Kuldeep is asking, if I earn some gift like house by parent and that house given rent, then I can also fall. Look, this is a different kind of case you are asking, Kuldeep. You are an individual. That's it. So if you are an individual human being, you would be in category of individual. You will understand each concept when we will discuss this definition one by one. We are going to discuss each category one by one. So that would clear everything like a crystal clear. Okay. Trust and NGOs are also AJP if they do not fall in this 7 category of persons. Okay, Mustafa? चलो ये बात क्लियर हुई. Let's move ahead. Okay, let's go this. So we are going to discuss the definition of person, and that's why it is very, very important, because it consists of basic concept of income tax, that who is going to pay tax. That is assessee, but person include assessee. So that's why the definition, when we were discussing about the assessee, it says every assessee is a person. Because if you an assessee, if you need to pay tax, you either be an individual, HUF, AOP, BOI. So automatically you will be the part of any category of those 8. So all assessee would automatically be a person. But a person need not to be an assessee. Like you are an individual. So you do not have any income. So you are person. But because you need not to pay any taxes, you would not be called an assessee. Now the term individual, what is the meaning of individual? We are going to discuss the definition one by one. The term individual means only a natural person, a human being. There's no requirement of income. So I am also an individual because I am a human being. So we all are individual. We does fall in the category of individual. It includes both males and females. It also includes a minor or a person of unsound mind, but they must have a legal representative. But the assessment in such a case may be made on the guardian or manager of the minor or lunatic who is entitled to receive his income. So technically they are individual, but they need to pay taxes via guardian or manager. In the case of a deceased person, assessment would be made on the legal representative. If somebody has passed away, then up to the date when he has passed on, the amount of income he earned need to be pay tax by the his legal representative. So individual definition is very simple. In a single term, you can understand it. Individual means only a natural person. Let me explain you with the technical concept of definition of individual. So individual generally means single owner of any income. So if there is any income, and if you are the single owner of that income, you would be called individual. Like, suppose Mr. A, he is doing job in a company. He is getting salary from this company, suppose 20 lakh rupees per annum. So can you tell me who is the owner of this income? Legal owner of this income? Who is the legal owner of this 20 lakh rupees of salary? That is Mr. A. And he is an individual person. So the owner of this salary is a single person, and that is Mr. A. It does not matter that whenever he goes into the house, his salary is going to be confiscated by his family members, his wife, etc. It does not mean anything, but the legal ownership is with Mr. A. So he is the legal owner of this income. So that's why for the purpose of this income, Mr. A would be the single owner of income. So he would be treated as individual. He would be categorized in the definition of individual. Clear? Suppose Mr. B, he is doing a business. And from that business, he earned a net profit of 25 lakh rupees in a year. He is doing this business all alone as a proprietor. So now who is the income of this business? Who is the legal owner of this business income? That is Mr. B. And because he is the single owner of that income, he would be called in again individual. He needs to pay tax as an individual. Clear? Now suppose in the same case, suppose Mr. B in this business add Mr. C as a partner. Only 1% of profit share. So 99%. Mr. B is having now 99% share and Mr. C is having only 1%. And now the business earned 30 lakh rupees in this year. Now this income of 30 lakh rupees does not have a single owner. Whether it is having more than one owner. It does not matter whether it's just 1% or he is having 99%. But now this income does not have any single one owner. Now the owner of that income is more than one individual person. So if there is any income of which there is more than one owner, now that cannot be categorized as individual. Now this 30 lakh cannot be taxable as any individual income. It could be partnership firm. If they registered as a firm, it could be an LLP. If they registered as a LLP, it could be a company depending upon. But now the 30 lakh rupees could not be taxed as an individual income because when there is an income and there is owner that is more than one person is the owner, that would not be categorized in the definition of individual. So now technically you must have understood that what is the meaning of individual. So if there is any income and if there is one single owner of that income, that would fall in the definition of individual. And when there is more than one owner, it would not be an individual category income. It would be taxed whether it's an AOP, BOI, partnership firm, company, LLP, etc. But not as individual. It depends how it is registered, but it would not be taxed as an individual income. I hope it's clear now. Let's see. So B will not be liable for, no. The firm is liable for tax on full 30 lakh rupees, Kuldeep. It's not B is liable for 99%. No, the tax would be applicable on 30 lakh rupees as a partnership firm. After tax, whatever would be the profit, that Mr. B can take as 99%, but that would not be taxed an individual. The 30 lakh rupees needs to be taxed as a partnership firm category, not as an individual. Why? Because when we will discuss the rates of tax in this chapter, the rate of tax for individual is different. The rate for partnership firm is different. Why it is different? Because if the income falls in the category of individual person, the rate of individual would be applicable. If the income is taxable other than individual, as a partnership firm, as a company, they are having different rate. So it's very important to understand that whatever their income is it going to be taxed as an individual? Is it going to be taxed as a company? Is it going to be taxed as a partnership firm? Because the rates are different. Okay. So we have to identify what is the kind of person in which income is going to be taxed. So what we do in your class, I am with book and also reading from. I have uploaded the notes. You can take that notes. Everything has been based upon the study material, of course. Yes, category will change. Different tax category for different kind of person. For company, different rate of tax. For partnership firm, different rate of tax. For individual, different rate of tax, etc. Miss Tiwari Radheshyam is saying, sir, can we say that to pay tax, one needs to be an assessee after being person? Yes, if of course, if you does not fall in the category of assessee, you need not to pay any tax. You would be considered only if you need to pay tax in the definition of assessee, or you are deemed assessee, or you are assessee in default. Only being a person does not mean that you need to pay tax. Like suppose you are earning rupees 1 lakh rupees income. So that income is an individual category because you are the single owner of that income. But up to 2.5 lakh rupees or under new regime, there is exemption up to 12 lakh rupees. You need not to pay tax. So you would be only a person, but you would not be an assessee. Okay. Pooja is saying that's why the investor always start with 1% equity, not that case. Pooja, it does not have any connection with that. Okay, let's see any other query. Saipa Virali is asking how to maintain notes for this subject. Look, we have just started this class, Saipa. Okay, it needs time to understand the subject. It will take time. So after 2 or 3 classes, you would be able to correlate with the income tax subject, what it is. And after that, you will realize for what purpose I need to maintain the notes. For every topic, we do not need to maintain short notes. Those are important topic. Like for definition, you not need to maintain notes. But let me tell you, give 2 or 3 lectures. After 2 or 3 sessions, you would be able to find out yourself that how to maintain notes. If not possible, then I will let you know how to maintain notes. Okay. So it's just a starting class. We have to interact with income tax law, and then you will understand the concept of income tax. Mr. Goatlty Anil is asking, sir, you could please comment on trust because people are donating to trust to avoid tax. Is trust tax free? No, trust is not tax free. Trust is having very complicated tax structure and process that you are going to understand when you would be in final level provision. So for till now intermediate level, there is no trust provision needs to be discussed. But in case of trust, can be some manipulation, there can be some possibilities that you can avoid tax, but that is not in our syllabus part. Okay. So that was definition of individual. The second definition, which is most interesting definition from the definition of person, is HUF, Hindu undivided family. Now, what is Hindu undivided family? Now you have to understand this. Like Hindu undivided family is HUF. Now, this definition has not been explained under income tax. Income tax does not explain the definition of HUF. We carried this definition, we derived this definition from the definition of joint Hindu family. The definition of joint Hindu family from which we derive the definition of Hindu undivided family. Clear? The joint Hindu family again does not explain under the Income Tax Act. We have derived the definition of joint Hindu family from the definition of Hindu law. So definition of joint Hindu family has been derived from Hindu law. Hindu law, which is based on Vedas. So we are having 4 Vedas on the basis of which Hindu law has been made, and those Vedas are Yajurved, Samved, Rigved, or Atharved. Okay? So on the basis of that Vedas, Hindu law has been made, and in that Hindu law, the definition of joint Hindu family has been explained. In the definition of joint Hindu family, we derived the definition for the purpose of Income Tax Act, and that is Hindu undivided family. The joint Hindu family means, first of all, you have to understand the definition of joint Hindu family. Then from that, what is the difference between JHF and HUF? We will discuss. First of all, you have to understand the meaning of joint Hindu family. And the joint Hindu family says it consists all male and female of a Hindu family, all male, female of a Hindu family, those lineally descended legally descended from a common ancestor. So if they reside together, all male, female, lineally descended from a common ancestor, and if they reside together, they would be called a joint Hindu family. In a simple way, those Hindu families must have seen in Anupama, क्योंकि सास भी कभी बहू थी, in which you must have seen all male, female reside in a like in a single house, and those belongs to a common ancestor. So that is technically the example of Hindu or joint Hindu family. We are not discussing right now Hindu undivided family. That is slightly different from joint Hindu family. We are discussing first of all joint Hindu family, then we will switch to Hindu undivided family. So all male, female, lineally descended. The meaning of lineally descended means in a structure way, like grandfather, then father, then son, then their child, children. So in a line, linearly descended month, once an ascending, descending. So great grandfather, then our father, then ourselves, then our child and grandchild. So in a linearly descended family, those ancestors are common. So if they reside together in a family, they will be called a joint Hindu family. Understood? From a common ancestor. The ancestor should be common. Now, understand this. Your ancestor, and all those ancestors are common, would can form part of your joint Hindu family, including like you residing in a family, your ancestor, your sister ancestor, your brother ancestor, your parent, your father ancestors is same, but your mother ancestors are different. Understand? Your mother ancestors are different, but including wives and daughters. So for the females, there are very interesting provision under joint Hindu family that we will discuss again in this chapter. But you will see the ancestor of your mother is different. Your ancestor, your father ancestors are same, common. But your mother ancestors are different still. They will be part of our joint Hindu family. So if you'll think about the definition, maybe you will think, okay, mother should not be the part of my joint Hindu family because their ancestors are different. Even your grandmother ancestors are different. But still, specifically, the addition has been made that wives and daughters, and again, your grandmother, mother would be the part of your joint Hindu family. So, all male, female who lineally descended from a common ancestor reside in a same house, including wives and daughter, would be form part of your joint Hindu family. So, that is the definition of joint Hindu family. But there is very interesting concept regarding female under joint Hindu family and Hindu undivided family. What it is? Before that, now what is Hindu undivided family? We should discuss this. Suppose there is a joint Hindu family. There is a joint Hindu family. Fine. This is our joint Hindu family. And there are A, B, C, D. Four brothers with their family reside in the same house. Fine. बिल्कुल अनुपमा एंड प्लस सास भी कभी बहुत ही दोनों साथ में ओके सो दे ऑल रिसाइड इन अ सेम हाउस सो दे वुड बी कॉल्ड द ऑल फैमिली दोज ancestors are common including mother grandmother wife etc would be called the part of this joint Hindu family. But this is not Hindu undivided family yet. What's the difference between a joint Hindu family and Hindu undivided family? We have to understand because under income tax, This is not the part of my syllabus. The syllabus part is this. They will ask the definition of HUF, not JHF. So we have to study the definition of JHF because it has been derived from the definition of JHF. But the person includes HUF. So what is HUF? That we need to understand. So because we have gone through with the definition of joint Hindu family, which is a broader term, how joint Hindu family would be treated as a Hindu undivided family. Now understand with this example. Suppose four brothers are A, B, C, D with their family reside in a single house. So this family consisting their wives, daughter, etc. would be called a joint Hindu family. But Mr. A earns salary income. He works in an organization as an employee. He earns salary income. So this salary income is not going to be taxed as a HUF income because he is the single owner of this income. So this is going to be taxed as an individual category income, whatever salary he is earning, because he is the single owner of that income. So that would be an income of individual category taxability. Suppose B, he is doing a business all alone. Proprietorship. Again, the profit or income generating is going to be taxable as an individual income, single owner of that income. C is also earning salary income from any other organization. So again, this is an individual income. And suppose D is not earning any income. So he's a person as an individual, but he's not an SSE. So technically, because they are earning their income separately, so they only be called as joint Hindu family, not Hindu undivided family. Because for the purpose of Hindu undivided family, they have to earn income collectively from the same business because they are earning income separately from job or business. So under income tax, they all will be called individual, not HUF, and they will be called JHF, not HUF. Now, when they will become a HUF, suppose they four decided, A, B, and C, D, they four all decided to start doing a business together. They started a new business. So now they have option. They can register this business as a partnership firm also. There is no restriction that if you are a family member, you have to do a business as a HUF. No, they can register as a firm, as an LLP, as a company. So if they registered this business as a firm, then they will be treated as firm. If an LLP, LLP. If a company, as a company. Again, there would not be any HUF. But if they registered this business as an HUF, then whatever income would be earned from this business is going to be taxed as Hindu undivided family. Understood? So if the members of JHF decided to earn income together, and if that business need to be registered as an HUF, then that income is going to be treated as an HUF under Income Tax Act. Again, let me tell you, it is not mandatory that all of four of them needs to start that business. A and B can start together. At least we need at least two people. A and B can start, A, B and C can start, B and C can start as an HUF registered, they can. So whatever income they will earn, the member of JHF, if earn any income and registered that business as an HUF, then only it would be treated as an Hindu undivided family. Else, it would be a company from LLP, or it would be, remain as an individual. So now, can you tell me in a very short single line, or you understand what is the technical difference between HUF and JHF? Their definition is same. Only one difference. If JHF member runs any business and registered it as a Hindu undivided family, then that income which has been earned from that business only is going to be taxed as per HUF provision. their individual income will be still taxable as an individual. Like salary income would remain taxable as salary income of Mr. A. Only this business income is going to be taxed as HUF. And if JHF does not start any business together as an HUF, then they will remain only JHF and the members' income would be taxed as individual, etc. So I hope you understand this concept. Let's see if there's any query. Brother-in-law and sister would be different. Who was asking that question? Mr. Kuldeep is saying joint families in village, not in village, in cities also. There are multiple joint family who stay together, reside together, of course. HUF cannot include any outsider family member. Like wife is the outsider, but it's still it is included in the HUF category. Mother is in technically outsider, but yes, any relative friend cannot be the part of your HUF if the common ancestors are different. Tiwari Radheshyam is saying, sir, means a person has to register under both HUF and business law, such as a company. It's no, 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 no. You have an option. Either you register your business as an HUF, then you have to pay tax as per HUF rate on the profit of that business. But if you registered that business as a company, then you cannot register it as an HUF. Then you have to pay tax as a company. Tiwari Radheshyam, okay. Kuldeep Nagar is saying blood relation is required, not technically mandatory, because we do not have any blood relation with wife, but still they are the part of HUF. Just relax. We did not complete HUF definition yet. It's a very wide definition. Abhi, we just started this definition. I'm just trying to make you to understand the difference between JHF and HUF. Abhi bas itna samjho. Just find that is different. If that is clear, that okay, sir, I explained JHF is this one, HUF is this one. There is very complicated, or we can say very interesting and complicated provision regarding female. We will discuss it. Is that clear? What is the difference between JHF and HUF? Is this clear? Then it's okay. Let it be. All other question, whatever is coming in your mind, like you should ask what is the concept of sister after marriage. They will go in some other family, then what will happen, etc. So we have the provision for that also. I have not completed the definition yet. It's just a starting part of this definition we have just covered. We will have each and everything. Like look, you all start asking question. Till now, whatever we have discussed is clear. Your all query will be automatically resolved when I will complete this definition. Abhi, we just started this definition. Now, Saipa is asking if A, B, C, D are four sisters instead of brother, and they have started a business. Can it be considered HUF? Yes, it can be. We have the provision of each and everything. Just have patience, student. Just have patience, because if I'm going to explain your queries without completing the definition, then there will be multiple queries. Let me complete my definition. When I'll say, okay, HUF definition has been done, then your queries would be like 1 or 2%, whatever you are asking right now. So just have patience. I will answer all queries. So do not ask any query regarding HUF because we have not completed it yet. Just have patience. Adil Khan is asking, what about married sister? Do not worry. We have the provision. I will discuss. Aditya is saying, sir, Karta will pay tax in HUF, but I can start from another company. Karta is just the representative. HUF is going to pay the tax. All member needs to bear that tax. But you can start another company. You can start multiple company firm. That is no issue. Shireen is asking if Miss A is daughter of Mr. X and in future she will get married. We have the provision. Why are you so much in hurry? We are not going anywhere. Just stay there. Stay there. Everything would be clear. Just relax. In Ambani's HUF, how would I know if Ambani G has created an HUF? That income would be taxable as HUF. I do not have any idea whether he is running an HUF or not. Mr. Mangala is asking, is there any advantage of registering as HUF? If not, why there is separate division? There is advantage regarding tax, but we are not here to understand the what is the advantage of becoming an HUF, etc.? If you want to run a business together, you can create an HUF. The tax avoidance concept is different that we cannot discuss over here. What is the advantage, etc.? JHF is we have to pay tax separate for all income, and in HUF, if we register the business in HUF, we have to pay tax on that income, and the individual pay other. Very good, correct, Mustafa. You are absolutely correct. So all students should understand that whatever we have discussed till now, if that is clear, be happy, because all question of your like what would be the case when sister is getting married or we are getting married and wife is coming into our HUF, that we are going to discuss in this topic. Okay, till now whatever we have discussed with the help of a chart, let's read it with notes. Under the Income Tax Act 1961, a Hindu undivided family is treated as a separate entity for the purpose of assessment. It is include the definition of the term person. Under section 231, the levy of income tax on every person, therefore income tax is payable by HUF. Now HUF has not been defined under the Income Tax Act because it has been defined right from JHF. JHF is from Hindu law. Hindu law is from Vedas. Okay. The expression is, however, defined under the Hindu law as a family which consists of all males lineally descended from a common ancestor and includes their wives and daughters. Some members of the HUF are called co-partner. Now, what is co-partner? That we will discuss. They are related to each other and to the head of the family. HUF may contain many members, but members within 4-degree generations. Any person born into the family, boy or girl, up to the next coming 3 generation is a part of the HUF. Including the head of the family, which is called Karta, are called co-partner. A Hindu co-partner includes those persons who acquire an interest in joint family property by birth. Earlier, only male descendants were considered as co-partner. Now, this is the real thing. Earlier, in a Hindu family, only male members is regarded as co-partner. What is co-partner? Co-partner is a very powerful definition. What is the meaning? What is the power? We will discuss with effect from 6 September 2005. This is the important date to be remembered. Daughters have also been accorded co-partnery status. It may be noted that only the co-partner have a right to partition. Now we have discussed that paragraph. So after this discussion, you will understand the status of females, daughter, wife, etc. in our HUF. So now the concept for females in HUF. Before 6 September 2005. So before 6 September 2005, what was the status of females in a Hindu undivided family or a joint Hindu family? We are discussing. Before 6 September 2005, a female up to marriage, she would be treated as member of her father JHF or HUF. So she is treated only as a member, not a co-partner. Now, what's the difference between a member and co-partner? We will discuss after this chart. So, up to marriage, she would be treated as the member of her father's joint Hindu family or Hindu undivided family, as the case may. And on or after marriage, the status of a membership in her father family ceased to exist. मतलब in father family HUF JHF, she is not a member now. Now she became a member of her husband, JHF or HUF. So very simple provision. So she would be only member up to the marriage in the family of her father and on or after marriage in the family of her husband. But a drastic amendment, a very constructive amendment, a very important amendment has been made on or after 6 September 2005. Now the female provision is completely different. You will see up to marriage. Now she is co-partner of her father HUF or JHF, co-partner. And on or after marriage, now she is having two power. She would remain the co-partner in her father JHF and HUF. She will remain the co-partner. Even after marriage, she will remain the co-partner in her father HUF and JHF and become the member also in her husband JHF or HUF. Now you can see after marriage, the female is having two benefit. She will still the co-partner in her father family till her lifetime, even after marriage also. And she will get the membership benefit in her husband joint Hindu family or Hindu undivided family. This is for only females. Males only remain the co-partner in their father's JHF and HUF for lifetime, even after marriage, before marriage. So male do not have any interest in their father-in-law JHF, HUF, but female on or after 6 September 2005. And let me tell you, it is not about birth. Whether you have born before 6 September on or after 6 September, from this date, 6 September 2005, you will be the co-partner in your father HUF till marriage. Even after marriage, you will remain the co-partner in her father HUF and you will also get the membership of her husband HUF or JHF. I believe you must be thinking, you all female especially must be thinking, what is the difference between co-partner and members? So let me tell you what is the power of co-partner. Co-partner can ask for partition. This is the power. Can ask for partition in the family. You can ask the partition. If you are a co-partner in a JHF or HUF, you can ask for the partition anytime you want. It does not have anything with your age. Even before 18, you can ask for partition. If you are a co-partner, you have the power to demand partition, and as well as if someone else demanded that partition, you did not demand that partition, someone else demand that partition, then you have the power to receive your share. So you have both power. You can demand yourself partition and receive your share. If your other co-partner demanded partition, then you have the right to receive your share if you are a co-partner. But if you are a member only, then you cannot demand partition. You have only one power, that is to receive your portion, receive your share on partition. But you cannot initiate that partition. You have to wait that any co-partner of that family will start that partition. And if the partition start, you will get your share. Let me tell you in simple language, a female can demand partition in her father HUF anytime because she's a co-partner. But in her husband HUF or JHF, she cannot demand partition because she's just the member. She has to wait till the time anyone of that family will ask for partition. If the partition initiate, she will get the share, but she cannot ask for partition. So a member cannot ask or cannot start partition in the family. They have to wait that some co-partner need to start it, and then we can receive our share. Now, a very simple question to make you understand this thing. In your family, you are co-partner. Co-partner means you must have blood relation. You are the part of that family. You have born in that family. And members that does not have any blood relation, they do not take birth in that family. So in your family, you are a co-partner technically, and your mother is member. Your grandmother is member. You can ask for partition because you are a co-partner. Your sister can ask for a partition because she's also take birth in that family, but your mother cannot ask for partition. She has to wait. If you ask for partition, then she will get the share, but she cannot start the partition. Your mother can initiate the partition in her father, joint Hindu family or HUA. Understood? Now, I believe a lot of question must have been answered. What must be coming into your mind before discussing this topic? Any law passed on 6 September 2005? The amendment has been made by the Supreme Court, Mr. Kuldeep. So that's why it happened. Before that, only males have the power for partition and female position we have discussed. And let me tell you, in the examination also, this part is not going to be asked because this is an old concept. I have just elaborate, explained and discussed this provision so you will understand the change what have been made by the court and the power which has been received by the female on or after this date. So this concept is old, but we need to understand that to understand the impact of this judgment on this HUF female category. So what if her husband family does not have a HUF? They would have a joint Hindu family automatically. For the purpose of joint Hindu family, we do not need to register anywhere. For HUF, we need a business for registration, but if there is no joint HUF, that would be automatically joint Hindu family is still there. What is the main difference between JHF and Hindu undivided family? Look, all Hindu family in which male and female reside together, that is automatically joint Hindu family. You not need to register anywhere. But if those joint Hindu family members start a business separately and registered that business as an Hindu undivided family, then that business income would be taxed as HUF income. But if even if it is not started that business, they would still be called a joint Hindu family always. Kuldeep, husband died, then wife still be a member. She will always be a member in her husband's JHF. Even if husband die, she cannot become the co-partner. Okay. Who is the head of HUF? The elder male member or the co-partner would be the head of the HUF, male or female, but that should be the co-partner. Like your sister could be the karta of your family if she's the elder one. When you and she's in the business, then only. So technically, who is the elder male or female co-partner in the family would become the karta. Amendment of 6 September 2005 had retrospective. No, whatever HUF families have partition before that date would not have any affected from this. Only those family do not have partition would be affected by this judgment. Is share or rights are equally divided? Yes, in HUF, all persons having, all members having same shares. If the partition happened, then they will not be included in HUF. Shireen Ahmed, what does that means? If the partition happened, then they will not be included in HUF. About what you are asking, I'm not getting your question, Shireen. Let me see any question on query portal. Pranav. Shares are equal, Pranav, for everyone. Any more query? On or after 6th September, Kuldeep, it has been written in notes also from 6th, on or after 6th September. Mustafa is asking, GHF is we have to pay tax separate for all income and individual. No, that's exactly the same thing you understood. There is no change in this, Mustafa, whatever you have sent. JHF, we have to pay tax individually, but if the member of JHF starting a business together and that registered that business as a Hindu undivided family, on that income they have to pay tax as a HUF, but all their income would be taxed as an individual. You are absolutely correct at that time also, this time also. Nothing has been changed. Shamli is saying main point is registration of business to become HF. Absolutely correct. If JHF is there and there is no registration of business as an HUF, that will be remain as a joint Hindu family. But if they registered as a HUF, then only HUF will come into the picture. Otherwise, they will still remain the JHF. And let me tell you, whether it's in JHF or HUF, for the purpose of partition, etc., does not matter. If there is in JHF, no HUF, still you can ask for your partition. So if family member needs to register or do business as an HUF, then only they need to register as an HUF. If you do not want to business together as an HUF, you can earn income individually. You can register your business as in company, LLP or partnership firm also. But if you want to do a business together as an Hindu undivided family, then you have to register it as an Hindu undivided family. Okay, Kuldeep? Mr. Arun Sagar is asking, after on 6 September 2005, can we have more than a co-partner in HUF? Is there any benefit bind with HUF in income tax contacts? We are not talking about the benefit. We are just talking about if that is an HUF, what is going to be the tax treatment? What is the benefit, etc.? That is a tax planning part, which is not in your syllabus yet. On or after 6 September 25, can we have more than a co-partner? Means the co-partner means the person who takes birth in a family will automatically become a co-partner. Like you, your sister, father, brother of your father, etc., your cousins, they all are the co-partners. So it does not change anything on or after 6 September regarding co-partner. It just changed one thing, that female, the daughters became the co-partner. Earlier they were member in the family. Now they also become the co-partner in their father HUF or JHF. Thank you, sir, for engaging session. So looking forward to complete it with you only. Your chart explanation is very unique. Thank you, sir. Most welcome. So before ending the class today, let me give you a very motivational thing, a very interesting story, a very short story, which I told in every class to make you understand what exactly means of study all about. Okay, so there's a real story, what I'm going to tell you. There was Albert Einstein. We all know that, the greatest scientist of all time, Albert Einstein. And once somebody asked him, and that is not a joke, that's a real story. Once someone asked him, which is most difficult subject for you, sir? Because he was so much intelligent person, his IQ level is like tremendous. So his accountant actually asked him, and his wife was also there, what is most difficult subject for you? You know what he answered? He said, income tax is the most difficult subject of my life. So understand, even Albert Einstein was not able to understand the income tax. According to him, income tax was so difficult that somebody who is uh, doing that much inventions, he was the highest IQ level, he's saying income tax is the most difficult subject of my life. So that means, are you able to understand the income tax till now? Whatever we have discussed, like the definition of assessee, the person, definition of person, the income tax origination. So you able to understand today? I believe most of you will say, yes, we understood. So that means your IQ level is more than Albert Einstein because he was not able to understand that thing. And I'm the teacher of income tax. So my IQ level, though, like 100 times more than Einstein because I'm teaching income tax. So is it so? No, no, do not even think about it. We do not have that much IQ level. He is the greatest person. So why he said that he does not understand the income tax? He thinks it is the most difficult subject. The problem is he does not have any interest in understanding income tax. He was having interest in inventions, science. Kuldeep is saying maybe complex structure. Do you really think so? It is more complicated than the invention he made? No, do not think about it. Okay. It is just because he does not have any interest in income tax concepts. He has interest in invention, science, etc. So when you will not having any interest in anything, it's your personal life also, it's your professional academic life also, you will feel that thing is very difficult. If someone of you like dancing, believe me, they will feel dancing is so easy. But ask this question to someone who cannot dance. Sunny Deol, ask him. Dharmendra, he will say, dancing is the most difficult thing in this world. कुछ भी करा लो acting वगैरह, I can't dance. Why? Because they do not have any interest in dance. If your parents ask you, fine, chalo, let's go for a movie. You are coming from your like hectic schedule to back to your home, and your parents say, okay, go for a movie or let's go for a dinner, let's go outside, let's go for a vacation. And if you love to go on vacation, you will not feel any tiredness. You will going to enjoy that a lot. And if they'll ask you, okay, go and let's go for a satsang, and you don't like satsang, then after 20 minutes you will feel, oh my God, it's so difficult to do. So it's all about your interest. So until unless you will have interest in your studies, and it happens in every way of your life, you can think when you are a kid, when you are in up to 12th, there must be some subject you feel difficult. You know why? And you will feel some subjects are easy, and maybe your friend feel the vice versa. What? If you have interest in maths, you will find it easy. If you will have interest in Hindi or English or language or literature or chemistry, you will find those things very easy in which you have interest. And you will find those things very difficult. You do not have any interest. You can check it out. Think about it. So Albert Einstein does not have any interest in income tax. That's why he finds this subject most difficult. And if you are interested in any subject or in anything in your life, you will feel that thing so easy. So it's my humble request and advice to all of you. Just try to make interest in your studies. Just try to be feel that this is the most important part of your life. Now the problem is this, how we will create interest in our studies because we believe that studies are really boring. Who wants to study? Everybody wants to enjoy in their life. We do not want to do all these studies, etc. So I will tell you how to create interest also in your study, but let me tell you, do not fear from any subject. If you'll fear from any subject, you will find it very complicated, very difficult. So just try to create interest in your studies. How it can be done, I also sort that issue for you. But for now, just revise those provision what we have discussed. In the next session, we will complete our definition and basic concept part, and then we will move on to the other topics. So we will be together for the next 14 session. And if you have any query, whatever I have asked for you homework, please go for it and ask me if anything you're not able to understand. And remember this thing, you can try, check it yourself. If you do not have any interest in any such thing, you will finding those things difficult in your life. So if there's any query, let me see if there's any query, then we will solve it and then we will end the session. Arun is asking who's going to take major decision in HUF. Karta is the leader of HUF and the decision would be taken by majority or depending upon the HUF structure or the family members. There is no one authority who will decide whatever needs to be done. Yes, Kuldeep, correct. Any other query? Thank you, sir. Who is this? Shamli. Tiwari is asking, sir, if there is ancestral property of HUF which is divided among the member, but it is not registered as HUF, so income will be taxed individually. Yes, of course, if the property has been divided and any income has been derived from that income. Let me tell you, if the partition has been taken place, Tiwari Radheshyam, if the partition has been taken place, then whatever property you have get, now that is your individual property. Whether HUF is registered in future or not, on that income you have to pay tax individually. So there is no liability to paying tax as an HUF later on. Mangala is asking regarding, I don't have any doubt, it's the subject. Just want to, FM and SM classes are going to start or should we study from previous batches? Please send a mail for this to BOS or ICAI. I do not have any idea, Mangala, sorry. Okay, any else? Kuldeep is saying if Karta dies, who will assume responsibility and widow mother cannot as she being member only? Yes, if the Karta dies, like suppose father dies in a family, then the elder son or daughter, those are co-partner, would become, of course, the Karta of the family. If they're minor, then the female, the wife could be treated as Karta on behalf of those children. But if there is any major member, then that would be treated as Karta. Those are elder out of those major member. How to start HUF? What are the procedure? That is not in our syllabus, but you have to register a deed and then you apply for the PAN card, etc. But that is not the part of our syllabus. That's why we are not discussing it, Aditya. Okay, everything is clear so far, Ishwar. Congratulations, you are intelligent than Einstein. Adil is asking. Thank you. Any other query? Till now it's easy. Congratulations, Shalini, Einstein. Satish, okay, no query. Session is very interesting. You're welcome. Mr. Linger, anyone else? Any Prerna? Okay, saying thank you. Riddhiven, only 14 sessions of income tax. Till house property, it's 14 sessions. Maybe it would be change after that. Do not worry, I would be there. Santosh, okay, thank you. Really enjoyed. Same as there, Santosh. And any else? Mustafa is saying social science, which contains historical environment and geography. I love in Gujarati and science. Just read from material to day homework. Yes, the notes are actually based on material. I have just separated in three parts. Everything else is being taken from material. So you can go through the notes. If you want, you can go through the study material also. You will find the same exactly. Okay, who's this? Saipa is saying thank you so much. Welcome. I guess Kuldeep is saying it's a wonderful subject. Thanks, sir. You're welcome. Anyone else? Adit is saying thank you. Okay, everything has been done. So Nisarg ji, I think I have taken all the queries. There is no more queries left. So we can close this session now.